Look, if I pick up a newspaper, automatically I'm assuming that I'm going to see something political or about sports or the weather. Lately, all I've seen is Danny Zelisko and his promoter business, and for crying out loud, I know 50 concerts, 50 years of concerts. How many total concerts in the 50 years? Have you ever counted?
No, but I think it's probably about 14,000. They told me it was over 10 in '99. So I would say it's about 14,000.
Well, you just recently had a tribute paid to you by friends of Danny Zelisko, who not only showed up for a private party on Sunday to see the display of just a fraction of the acts that you brought to the Valley of the Sun, but then also that's been available at Walker Studios for a few days too. One memorable moment when you decided to leave Chicago and come to Phoenix, Arizona. Had you ever been here before?
I came here in 1972 with a friend of mine on our way back. I flew to Berkeley and I came around and we drove through and spent some time right near Camelback Mountain. Just loved it. Went back, moved to Berkeley, failed, moved back to Chicago, moved back here, and you know, it took me a few years to find my footing with everything, but I just loved it here. The Celebrity Theater was really the only place in town, other than a couple of clubs and the Coliseum for the bigger shows, and I thought I just might have a chance here to do this, because in Chicago it just felt like so old school and Al Capone and all that stuff. I mean, not that that came into it, but I came here and I got a couple of shows. I got the bite, and one thing led to another. When I got Dooley's, I got to be the go-to guy for that level of shows. And then those groups would come back the next year or the year after that, and maybe they were bigger because they got played on the radio back then, unlike now.
But why aren't some of them touring once they've already planned and produced a tour show at some expense, and now some of the acts are saying, no, we've decided against it, we're not going to go out. J-Lo changed her mind about the tour.
Well, all I can suggest, I've heard she's had some personal problems going on. I shouldn't know that, but you know, I can't help but see it. They post it in front of me all the time. I don't think she had sales. You know, every artist, almost every artist, has that lull in their career. The Black Keys just canceled. I don't know why they canceled. I've never done them, or J-Lo. Well, I did J-Lo years ago, but in concert, that is. I think when you see a big show go down like that, I mean, if it's a health thing, they usually announce it. If it isn't, and it's kind of like they've just announced.
Has Taylor Swift ever failed?
I don't think so.
What is the
Ask
story,
her, though, because I bet she has a couple of secrets there.
What is the magic, though, of that single act?
She caught lightning in a bottle the same way the Beatles did. It's the same thing. It's like something people got to have. And it's just all the right energy and the looks and the music and the timing. It all comes together, and, you know, she ain't going away.
You've got this remarkable percentage of successes that you've had. And you've mentioned, and they wrote about them in the paper, a couple of failures every once in a while, too.
They're going to happen.
What was the biggest audience that you ever booked an act for? Can you remember?
Biggest audience.
Well, because you've done not only arenas, you've done stadiums.
Well, McCartney here, the first time in 1990,
I was there.
He had between 65 and 70,000 people in Sundell. I remember looking at that stadium before I booked it, and I was looking at some football game. They had about 15,000 people at it. I go, I think McCartney could outdraw this team. They're terrible. It wasn't ASU. And that's how that happened. The Grateful Dead, over 3 nights in Vegas, we did 125,000. That was in the 90s. Really famous shows, which were the last stadium or type shows that the Dead played till they did the Sphere thing that they're doing right now, which I'm going to.
But if you happen to see a little guy in a little place, relatively, like the Celebrity Theater, for example, and the little guy has long hair and a beard, and he's smiling because he counted the house and Danny Zelisko has presented another big show.